What are the characteristics of a top performer in commercial real estate? That question has been posed to me at every cocktail party I've ever attended, it seems like, and to every mom and dad who want their son or daughter to climb into this business and be successful. That seems to be the question. That's a tough one. I mean, I could tell you what it took for me. And, I would think these characteristics are important for everyone. And I always start out with passionate. You have to be passionate, because I found when you're passionate in anything you do, you could be successful at it. Because when I look around and I see interviews on television of people who started baking cookies to becoming Mrs. Fields cookies, I mean, she loved chocolate chip cookies, let's face it. And she was passionate about it. And she thought she made the best chocolate chip cookie in the land. And whether it is or it isn't, because of that passion, she drove it into a household name. Well, the same thing in commercial real estate. You need to be passionate. People need to see that. When I'm selling a property, and I remember when I was very young in the business, my first year in the business, second year in the business, I was so passionate, and I still am, but I mean, I was so passionate back then. When you're young and passionate, it's even more exciting, I think, because the investor sees you as how excited you are in what you're selling, that it must be something I should be doing. And so if you really believe in the product you're selling, you're going to be good at it. That isn't all you need is passion. You've got to know what you're doing. And it's so important to understand, pick a product, pick a specialty, something that you think is fun. Like a lot of people, couldn't stand selling apartment buildings. That's just, I don't like that. I wouldn't like to deal with tenants and all the issues and getting the calls in the middle of the morning that the plumbing's leaking, things like that. I'm a finance guy. I want to sell shopping centers or industrial buildings or triple net retail. That's fine as long as it's something you love to do, that or at least it's interesting to you at this point. That's the road to go down. So sometimes you really have to dig in and understand 2 or 3 different products. And after you know the pros and cons of those products, you pick one and then be the leader in that product. Do not try to sell 8 different products. Now, if you're in a small town, I would agree that you have to be good at all the products in your town. And it isn't that you can't be, but you better apply yourself, because I can tell you I was really good at apartments. Well, today, most of my net worth and the company's net worth is in industrial and shopping centers and office buildings. So what happened to apartments? Well, we do have some apartments, but it's not nearly the bulk of my net worth as it used to be. And I had to learn to grow both as an agent and as an investor into other products. So you have to dig in and understand and learn these different property types. It's just the way the world works. It isn't a business that you can just jump into and do well. You hear those stories of people that you think are not as smart as you, but they become super successful in real estate. Well, the fact is, maybe what you need to do is shadow them for 4 to 6 months and figure out what they really did in order to be successful. Not the buddy that you just hang out with at the bar, but who that real person is who really is out there digging in, because you'd be surprised to find out that maybe really does know what he's talking about, or she knows what she's talking about, and that they really worked hard to learn that particular product that they're selling. I have a story, and I'm going to tell you this because it's somewhat personal and it's somewhat odd, but I think everybody who's competitive has to have a goal, and so or be a contestant to win. And so I really wanted to be successful in real estate, and I have mentioned in earlier talks that I've given that I came to the crossroads of becoming a lawyer or a commercial real estate broker. And when I made the decision that I'm going to go into commercial real estate, I had a friend. We were in high school. We were both, well, he was smarter than me, I can tell you that, but we were in the top 10% of our class. And he was a pretty smart guy. Boom, he went right into law school, dug in, got out in 3 years. Well, during those 3 years while he was in law school, I said, I'm going to act like I'm in law school. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is I'm going to work as hard as if I was in law school, which really means you're working all day, like my buddy. Actually, he went to school all day and then he worked in the evenings to support himself in order to go to law school. So you're talking about 12, 15-hour days. So I said, I'm going to do exactly what he's doing, because when he gets out of law school, I better be making six figures, because I know he will be making six figures, not out of law school, but by the time he's 30, he'll be making $100,000 a year. Again, I'm going back to the late 70s. The dollar amounts are different. You got to have inflation figured in here. But that was the goal back then. And so I did exactly, we would meet once a week, we'd play racquetball, and we'd get updates on how he's doing, and I'd give him updates on how I'm doing. Well, by the time he got out of law school, he had a long way to go to catch up to me, because I was already making 150 to 200,000. And as I've mentioned, and as you can find out if you Google me, that I was a millionaire at 26. Well, certainly coming out of law school at 25, you're not a millionaire at 26. So all I did is benchmark myself against him till I was about 30. And then after that, I didn't need to do that anymore. And because I made $1 million by the time I was 26, I wanted to obviously try to double that by the time I was 30. I didn't. I came close, but I didn't at that point. But it comes actually easier as you grow, but you know, you do go through periods of ups and downs in your career and actually in the economy and so on. But I guess I shouldn't be apologizing for almost being a multimillionaire at 30. But anyway, by 32, 33, I was. And the goal, though, was to have as much passive income as I thought my buddy would make with active income. So that goal I did achieve by the time I was 30. I actually had a passive income of about $250,000 a year. And back in 1985 or so, attorneys weren't typically making $250,000 a year. So anyway, I always used that as my benchmark. Even today, when I see very successful attorneys out there, I kind of wonder, are they more successful than I was? And it's just a benchmark I used in my career to make sure I always dug in and did well, worked hard, and competed. Because it's kind of interesting, I wasn't really competing as much with the people that were in my business as I was if I'd taken that other career. So it's been fun to do that, and I often think about that. And of course, there are very successful attorneys out there. But I became a very successful commercial real estate broker, and so I feel good about my decision. And it was great, though, because when I look back at it, it was silly to have that kind of competitive thing going on in my head, but it certainly helped me become successful.